So today I'm here with Clara Mae, a Swedish singer and songwriter who has made her mark in the music industry. Clara has reached number 21 on Billboard's Hot Dance Electronic Songs chart and has worked and co-written songs with producers David Guetta, Tiesto, and Martin Jensen. With over 600 million play counts globally, Clara's career is not slowing down. So I'm looking forward to our chat today. Let's get started. So, first off, let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to get into singing?
Hi, thank you for that beautiful introduction. It happened really early for me. I grew up in a music family. My dad is a musician and a producer and an engineer. So I grew up with a studio at home. Mm-hmm. So I was very young when I started writing songs in Swedish when I was a kid and started to record myself. And I think it sounds weird to say, but like somewhere around like 10, I knew that this was exactly what I wanted to do. But then, teenage years happened. You grow up. I started writing songs for other artists. I was very confused, like what I wanted to do and what type of music I wanted to do. I liked country music. I liked pop. I liked rock. Mm-hmm. So I was a little bit confused. So that's why I kind of started to write songs for other people. And that helped me to get to know what suited my voice and suited me as a person. So one day I just wrote a song and I felt like this song I cannot give away. This is my song. And that made it easier to realize who I am as an artist.
Yeah. So when did you make the switch, I guess you could say, from writing in Swedish to English?
That was actually really early, around 14. Mm-hmm. Okay. I started to write in English,
Yeah, and when I was doing my research, I found that you moved from your small town, your hometown, to Stockholm to pursue your music career. So why did you do that move? Was it essential for your career or more opportunities? Can you just talk about that?
Definitely more opportunities to live in Stockholm. Stockholm is a really good place to be a songwriter and an artist. There's studios in every corner. So it's definitely the place to be if you want to pursue this like 100%. Mm-hmm. For me also, I always wanted to move out. My hometown is a small town and I always wanted to try something else. And Stockholm isn't that far away. It's just 2 hours with a car. So I felt like the right move. And also I have a boyfriend. He's a hockey player and he got signed to a team in Stockholm. So it just made sense. Mm-hmm. For us to move here. So we did, and I signed with a publisher at first in the management and just worked as a songwriter for years before starting to do my own songs.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about your first EP, Sorry for Writing All the Songs About You, in 2018. That received a lot of streams. It received a lot of recognition. So how did that feel? And did that sort of push you to keep writing music and keep going?
Yeah, as I said before, there was this song where I wrote one song and I felt I cannot give this one away. And that one was called I'm Not Her, which was my first single and also the single on that EP. That single got me signed to Big Beat Records in the US because I kind of sent it for like, I don't know really, I just tried sending it around and they reached out to me and said, hey, why aren't you an artist? Do you want to sing this? And then they flew me over to New York and signed me with that song. So after that, it just made sense to try to write an EP. Mm-hmm. So I teamed up with a girl called Cassandra, and we kind of wrote every song on that EP together. And we just sat down at a cafe place once, and we said, like, I write every song about the same person, so we should just, like, say that out loud.
Yeah.
Start writing all the songs about you. And, yeah, it kind of just helped me just end the circle of that EP. And that EP is always going to mean a lot to me. It's my first represent, like, as an artist, it represented me for the first time. And then, of course, it's been a few years and I've evolved since then as a person and as an artist and as a writer, but it's always going to be a very meaningful EP. Mm-hmm.
So do you travel a lot for your music, like to the States or outside of Sweden?
Yeah, I go to LA a lot. Not the last 2 years, unfortunately. So I really miss going there. But yeah, I usually go a few times a year, like 5 or 6 times a year, and I go for 3 weeks and I write songs and do some promo, and then back to Sweden, and I go to London and Norway and Denmark and closer places as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So, how do you come up with your songs now? You mentioned your first album. You worked with someone for most of your songs. So, how do you come up with the ideas for your songs now?
I try to I write a lot of songs every week, 3 or 4 at least, and every song can't be about something that's happening in my life right now, because it's not that funny to be me. So I really dig deep sometimes. I go back and try to experience again some things that I felt when I was a teenager, when I was growing up. I also take a lot of inspiration from books and movies, and just try to absorb everything around me in my lyrics.
Yeah. So what do you do when you feel stuck? Like, do you ever get that sort of like writer's block feeling, or what do you do then? Yeah. How do you get over that hurdle?
It's really hard to force something out of you.
Yeah.
And that definitely happens a lot, especially with lyrics. And for me, lyrics is a really big part of the songs. I want it to be true, and I want it to be relatable and storytelling. And sometimes it's just impossible. So at those times, when that happens, I kind of just quit for the day, and I try not to force something out of it, because it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So I just quit, and then I go back maybe the next day or a few days later, listen to the melodies and see, do I still like this? Is it worth actually pull something out of me? And then I give it another go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely happens that you get writer's block.
Yeah, for sure. So you've written music, and you were featured in a lot of songs with popular musicians, as I mentioned, in my introduction. How does that feel, working with like David Guetta, Tiesto, all of those super big names in the industry? What's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I think the whole EDM thing started a few years ago. It just blew up.
Yeah.
And it was a really good way to get songs out there, like to get your top lines released. And I think I feel like a lot of female writers and singers at this point wrote a lot of top lines, and they all got like pitched to Tiesto, David Guetta. I did a song with Cream, the Norwegian guys that got really big. And at that time, I think it was a really good way to get your songs out there.
Yeah.
But after doing that for a while, you kind of just have to try to write for yourself more, which I did. And I think that helped me a lot to dig a little deeper, because all of those songs can't be too deep. It can't be too detailed. It's more like bigger words, more in general. So I did that for a while, and it was really fun. I still do it sometimes. I write for EDM acts and DJs because it's still a good way to get your songs out there.
Yeah.
I just try to do it a little less than before for my own sake.
Yeah. Yeah. So what sort of pushes you to keep going? Like you mentioned that you did that for a while, but sometimes you want to sort of go back to your roots and write for yourself. So what inspires you to keep going when you feel like that?
I guess it's a little cliche, but honestly, it's people and fans telling me how my music and my songs changed their life or helped them get through a tough period. That it's really amazing how people can really get helped by music, and how my songs and my lyrics can be meaningful for someone else. And honestly, that's really what gets you going when it feels tough sometimes.
Yeah. Is there anyone in specific you want to work with in the future, or any other artists you have in mind?
I think there are a lot of good artists coming up right now. I lean more and more forwards to country music. So I really want to go to Nashville as soon as it's easier to travel. I want to go there, and I want to work with Nashville writers and artists as well. Not any specific ones really, but just be in that atmosphere with those type of writers and just see what comes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different from when you're used to then, like the going towards country. So what makes you want to, I mean, you mentioned at the beginning that you do like country music. So what makes you want to write and get more into that?
It's not full on country with whiskey and
yeah.
my truck. there's no trucks and there's no whiskey. But it's more like, I think it's the storytelling thing in country music that it's always been in my music as well. It's very storytelling. But it's more the organic sounds and the storytelling from country music that I want to absorb. So for me, I started out really pop, EDM, electronic. And I think the older I get, the wiser I get. And the more I've been singing live, I've realized I want to do more organic things where I can actually sing and I can really show the full potential of my lyrics and my voice. So I want to try doing this that I didn't have the guts to do in the beginning. I just kind of followed the stream and did the pop EDM thing, and now I want to try this.
Yeah, exactly. Just dipping your toes everywhere.
Exactly.
So where do you see your music career going? It's a tough industry. Do you have any future plans, specific plans, goals, whatnot?
Right now, I'm really going to continue releasing songs and the new material that I've been working on during COVID. I'm also going to make videos. I love to be a part of directing them and come up with stories, and hopefully soon tour again. It's finally opening up here in Sweden. I'm doing a few gigs here now, which is so fun. But in the longer run, I definitely see myself release an album and go back to another US tour. Just go to Nashville. Yeah. Try music there.
Yeah. So when you go on, when you perform live, is that different than just sort of releasing music and like from your home or whatnot? Like what does performing live, like how does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's really different. And after these 2 years of not doing anything live, you kind of realize when I came back on stage how important it is. Important it is to me, because I kind of forgot it. It was just like releases. You were at home alone. You couldn't really celebrate even with anyone. You just released a song and you were sitting in your own couch and just like, yay.
Yeah.
And just going out on stage again and sing live, I just realized how important it is to see people actually react on your music, not only on social media and on streams. Just look them in the eyes and sing to them and see how they react. That's so important.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to sing live.
Yeah.
It's a big reason why I do this.
Yeah. And did you get nervous again? I mean, it's been so long since you performed live. So did those sort of nerves come back? And was it like harder to put yourself out there, or?
It was definitely a bit more nervous, like right before I went on stage. But I think as soon as like I've done the first song, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
So those were all the questions I had to ask. Do you have anything you want to add about your career or what you plan on doing, how you got here, anything?
I guess just want to say I'm excited to release this new stuff now, and I hope people will still like what I'm doing, even if it's leaning more country and more organic.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for connecting and chatting with me. I really enjoyed this conversation.